Dr. Mitchell again. In this video, we're going to focus on how to use arithmetic operators in our expressions in order to produce values, and just kind of recapping and reiterating how the order of operations works in math class, and how that still also applies in programming. So what are we learning today? So we're going to learn how to evaluate expressions that use these arithmetic operators, focusing on using addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and a new one, it's probably new to you, the modulus operator. So we're going to look at some examples of that. So some of this is probably going to be like, yeah, I already know that. But just to recap, we have addition, right? Where we use the plus sign in order to indicate addition. So for example, if I have A plus B, or grade plus 10, that is using addition. Subtraction is represented with our little minus sign in the format A minus B, or maybe I might do 100 minus points deducted. I can still, again, use variables in our expressions. I could do multiplication. Multiplication is indicated in programming languages using the asterisk or the star, which is typically located on the same key as the 8 on your keyboard. If you hold shift and then 8, that's where you get the star from. We don't do the X because that just makes it look like it's another variable. So A times B or base times height, that would be forms of multiplication. I can do division in programming, of course, which is indicated with the slash, which is shared on the same key as the question mark on your keyboard. That is how I indicate division in programming. I can't actually do the little dot with the line and the dot. I can't do that in programming. So for example, sum divided by 28 would be how I represent that. And then we have what's probably new to you, the modulus operator. The modulus operator is going to return the value after division. So it's typically formatted as A mod B, and mod is written in all caps here. Or for example, I could do 17 mod 2, right? Well, what does that mean and how would I get that result? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So let's say I have a bunch of candy that I want to give out to my classmates. Right now I have, let's see, I have 9 pieces of candy here. And I have 6 classmates. So I'm trying to give each of my classmates 2 pieces of candy. Well, I might not actually be able to do that, right? So if I give classmate number 1 2 pieces of candy, classmate number 2 2 pieces of candy, classmate number 3 2 pieces of candy, and classmate number 4 2 pieces of candy. Unfortunately, I end up leaving out a couple of my classmates because I only have 1 piece of candy left. So this 1b that I have left, this is the result that's returned from the modulus operator. So whenever I did 9 mod 2, I wind up with 1 left over. Let's maybe try if I were to divide this by 3. Okay, I want to know what 9 mod 3 is, or what is the result after dividing 9 divided by 3. So if I put this, so I'm going to give friend number 1 3 pieces of candy, friend number 2 3 pieces of candy, and friend number 3 pieces of candy. I have no beads or candy left over, so the remainder, or the mod of 9 mod 3, is 0. So let's take a look at some examples of how we apply the order of operations in these expressions. So first, if I have this expression 10 plus 5 times 8 divided by 4, first thing I'm going to do is the multiplication part of this. So the 5 times 8, that's going to give me 40. So then when I'm looking at 10 plus 40 divided by 4, the next thing that I'm looking at, according to the order of operations, is the 40 divided by 4. That's going to give me 10. Now I just do the 10 plus 10, which gives me the result 20. Now, what if I put parentheses around the 10 plus 5? parentheses comes first in the order of operations. So I'm going to evaluate that part of the expression first. So when I do that, 10 plus 5 gives me 15. Then the next piece that I'm going to look at in this expression is the 15 times 8. 15 times 8 gives me 120. So now I can just do the 120 divided by 4, which gives me the result 30. Okay, what if I put the parentheses around the 8 divided by 4? Well, now that becomes the first thing that I do. So 8 divided by 4 is going to give me 2. So now my expression is 10 plus 5 times 2. The next thing that I will then do is the 5 times 2. So that result will give me 10. So now I can just do the 10 plus 10, which gives me the final value, 20. Now, when I look at this in program code, let's say I'm working with some variables here and I have mod. Now, mod is handled at the same level as multiplication and division in the order of operations. So if I have the value 12 inside of num1, the value 25 inside of num2, and the value 14 inside of num3, and then I'm going to store this expression, num1 divided by 4 times num3 plus 9 mod 2 minus num3. That expression, the result of that expression is going to get stored inside of my variable called result. So in order to determine that actual value, I'm going to first start off by dividing num1 by 4. Num1 currently stores the value 12, so that's going to give me 3. So now the next piece that I have to evaluate is the 3 times num3. Num3 currently stores the value 14. So when I do 3 times 14, I'm going to get 42. Now I have 42 plus 9 mod 2 minus num3. Okay, so mod is going to be the next thing I do because again, it has a higher precedence than addition and subtraction. It's handled at the same level as multiplication and division. So 9 mod 2, or the remainder after dividing 9 by 2, gives me 1. Then I can just work my way across. 42 plus 1 gives me 43. And then minus num3. Num3 currently has the value 14. So 43 minus 14 is going to give me 29. So let's practice. Looking at this code segment, take a moment and pause the video to determine what is displayed after this code segment is run. So in this example, I start off by storing the value 40 inside of num1. Next, I am going to divide num1 by 2 and store the result of that expression inside of my variable num2, which means num2 has the value 20. Num3 is going to store the result of the expression 5 times num2 plus 3, which will give me 103. Now when I'm looking at result has to store the result of the expression num2 mod 3 times num1 plus 4 minus num3 divided by 2. So first things first, I'm going to take the num2 mod 3 and the result of that in my expression. So num2 currently has the value 20. So the remainder of 20 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. So then I'm going to do 2 times num1 plus 4 minus num3 divided by 2, right? The next thing then that I'm going to do in this expression is the 2 times num1. Num1 currently has the value 40, so that result is going to give me 80. Next piece is now to do my division, num3 divided by 2. Num3 currently has the value 103, so this value is going to give me 51.5. And now I could just finally work my way across. The 80 plus 4 gives me 84. 84 minus 51.5 gives me 32.5. So just to recap, what we take away from this is now we know how to evaluate expressions that use arithmetic operators in our programs. We looked at how to use addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the new one, the modulus operator, in order to evaluate expressions and store those or use those results in our programs. Thanks. See you in our next video.